What if you were the last human on Earth? What would that feel like? You could do anything, be anything, go anywhere. You would be free, but no one would ever see it. So is that truly freedom? A few years ago, I went through a difficult time, particularly when lockdown hit. I wanted to change the way I lived my life, but I made a bad decision. I isolated myself, and I became pretty lonely. But a lot has changed since then, and I want to help you through this video because I know what it feels like, and it hurts like a bitch. My name's Joel, I'm an 18-year-old psychology student aiming to help people have better lives, and today we're going to be looking at the pathology of loneliness. If you're watching this video, you are a human being. And that means that you have some necessary requirements in order to be psychologically healthy. You need to sleep, you need to eat food, and you need to stay hydrated. But one important factor that most people don't consider as much as they should is social connection. Socializing is an essential psychological nutrient. You can't work effectively without it, you can't be happy, you can't find meaning in your life. It is a non-negotiable requirement that you have to aim to hit. But the main reason that people usually don't get their dose of social connection, the dose that they need to be psychologically healthy, is because of one thing, and it affected me, and I think it is affecting you, and that is social anxiety. Because that's the real problem here. Loneliness is just the symptom of a deeper problem. If you didn't have social anxiety, then you would go and take the opportunities to socialize that are in front of you every day. By no means do I no longer suffer with social anxiety or loneliness, but here are the 3 things that I did to decrease both of those things in my life. I want you to watch this clip and tell me if it sounds familiar.
Let's say you're socially anxious. Okay, so what happens when you're socially anxious? You go to a party, your heart's beating. Why? The party is a monster. Why? Because it's judging you. And then what's happening internally? What are people thinking about me? What are people thinking about me? Am I looking stupid? Am I looking foolish? Geez, I'm awkward. I hate being here. Man, I'm sweating too much.
That was me. But that would often happen before I'd even got to the social situation. It'd be the night before, or I'd be in the car, and my mind would be running about all the things that could go wrong, all the ways that people would judge me, all the ways that I would embarrass myself. But the way that I managed to end that thought loop is with one important statement. No one gives a shit. It's so interesting because there is a phenomena in psychology that I've talked about in videos in the past called the spotlight effect, which basically explains that people overestimate how important their role is in other people's lives. Because the reality is we're all living under our own spotlight when we're walking around. We are all so focused on our own story that people really do not care enough about you for there to be negative consequences about the things your mind is telling you about. You and I are both worried about whether other people like us. But in reality, most people don't even like themselves. So the first step to reducing your social anxiety is understanding that every single person feels it. They are just as afraid and confused as you are. Just some people are better at hiding it than others. And it may manifest as some big, ballsy, confident personality, but a lot of the time, that's just a mask covering up inner insecurity. How many people drink alcohol to calm their nerves? Seriously, think about it. It's pretty much everyone, and that just shows that we all need something to take the edge off. We all need something to calm that thought pattern in our mind that's going on and on and on about other people's judgment. If you can notice that voice, you can calm it, and you can let it know that other people are so ensconced in their own reality that what you're thinking about is irrational. Then that's the first step to reducing your social anxiety and feeling less lonely. A popular treatment for a variety of fears is known as systematic desensitization, where a person is gradually exposed to the thing that they're afraid of, and then they eventually realize that they are capable of facing that fear, and that fear no longer exists. For example, if you're scared of spiders and you want to treat that fear, a psychologist might ask you to do some systematic desensitization, where you will travel up a hierarchy of the extremity of fear situations around your phobia. So in this case, they might get you to visualize a spider, and then watch a video of a spider, and then be in a room where a spider is very far away from you, and then a spider is coming towards you, and then a spider is on your hand. And the anxiety level across this hierarchy increases as you go up. But every single time the person goes through relaxation techniques and lowers their anxiety till eventually they're able to deal with that scenario. And by the end, once they've got a spider on their hand and they are calm, they are no longer afraid of spiders. You might be thinking, but Joel, how does that have any relevance to social anxiety or my loneliness? Well, I think that we need to travel up a hierarchy of social fears, of social risks, until eventually you realise you're capable of dealing with a multitude of scenarios that might worry you, and therefore you don't have to think about them, you don't have to worry about them, and you don't have to feel that anxiety again. You have to somewhat scare yourself in order to grow. If you genuinely want to be less socially anxious and genuinely want to have more friends, have better relationships, feel less lonely, it's going to be an uncomfortable process. You're going to have to leave your comfort zone, and depending on where your level is at, it can be things as small as saying hello to someone on the street. And then you can move on to things like having a small talk conversation with one person that day, and then you might actually go to an actual social event and see how that goes, and then you might organise your own social event. And as you're travelling up that hierarchy, each time you'll realise that you are more brave than you thought you were. You are more capable, and eventually you'll be less swayed by social anxiety, and you'll actually look forward to social situations more because you know you're capable of handling them. I find it super useful nowadays to have the opportunity to stretch myself in this manner. That is the reason that I will talk in front of classes in school. That's the reason that I'll do assemblies if I'm given the opportunity. It's the reason that I do school productions. It's because I want to expose myself to those things that I'm afraid of. And if you can talk in front of 100 people about something, then when it comes to going to a social event where you don't know anyone, you are more capable to take on that scenario because you've learned to quieten the thought pattern in your mind that makes you anxious. And once your social anxiety begins to reduce and you've exposed yourself to various new scenarios, realizing that you're more capable than you thought you were, you can then start to take control of your social life. This means that you won't have to rely on other people to avoid the pain of loneliness. You can initiate social interaction. You can organise opportunities for you to have a social connection with other people. But what this means is you have to be the initiator in your friend group. You have to be the one that suggests to do things. And this is the stage that I'm at now. I've sort of realised that if I don't think about it, if I don't genuinely make an effort to organise times to see people that I like, I will just hermit away, focus on work, and isolate myself from the world, and it doesn't go well. My mental health begins to decrease. So what I've realized is that I have to see it as a weekly, daily priority to see people that I love and have social connection and organize those things. I have to schedule in, I have to think about. Nowadays, I try and make a commitment to myself that I will initiate things with my friends and therefore feel less lonely. And so far over the past few weeks, it has been working. And along with that, being the initiator is the idea that you need to choose the right social scenario for you. When you're traveling up the anxiety hierarchy and you're taking risk and you're exposing yourself to new scenarios, you may find things that you like a lot more and things that you dislike. For me, for example, I'm not really a drinker of alcohol. Don't really enjoy the party scene. However, I would love the opportunity to have meals with my friends frequently out at restaurants. I also like to do activities like go and play crazy or watch a film, those things, right? And I've realized that, and then when I initiate to do things, I try and make sure that those are the things that I'm doing, so I get a very valuable social interaction and I feel a lot better. There's no regret the next morning because I've woken up with a hangover or anything like that. I'm realizing more and more just how important it is to take responsibility for my own social life, and you should feel that way too. Yes, other people are involved, but it's your responsibility to take the opportunities and create the opportunities for yourself. There are my 3 insights for reducing loneliness. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's something you have to remind yourself of every day. But if you take these steps, I promise you, you will have more access to that essential psychological nutrient that is social connection. If you enjoyed this video and would like to watch more, then you can click on this here. You can also subscribe to my weekly newsletter in the description, where you'll get an article from me on the Monday to begin your week in the best way possible. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.